Welcome all to a very special video. This doesn't really fall into one of our categories per se, but as you saw by the title, I got to play the closed beta For Honor. It was pretty good for the most part. I'm looking forward to it. I'm happy with what I saw. So I just want to kind of go over everything we did and just kind of break down my cons, my pros. And like I said, mostly positive. For Honor is a highly skill-based game requiring skills that we generally haven't cultivated in multiplayer games. The best analogy I can make for the game is kind of like facing another player-controlled enemy that has invaded your game in Dark Souls. The combat is extremely slow and deliberate, and defense is equally paramount as offense, as attacking your enemy. It really is what separates For Honor from pretty much every other game currently on the market, at least that I can think of, or in the AAA market. It's really also the reason I have a feeling that a lot of the initial launch player base is going to fall off really quickly. However, on the other side of that coin, it may very well spawn a super dedicated, kind of passionate group of fans. So I'm curious to see how that goes. But let's jump onto the pros and cons real quick. Basically, what I was able to extract from playing the beta, about 6 hours. I played on the Xbox One with a buddy of mine. And generally, I'm the guy that always picks to hear the bad news first, so that's what I'm going to do here. First and foremost, For Honor utilizes peer-to-peer servers, which is bad enough for any multiplayer game, but really critical in a game like this where a split-second reaction time can be the difference between blocking a blow and being decapitated. So the host player dropped out of the game several times on us, just kind of forcing everyone to sit around mid-game waiting to connect to a new host. My buddy Brett and I, who's playing with me, had trouble in the beginning connecting to each other because of our NAT settings and all this, because it's just issues that I have never really had with any other multiplayer-based game. So an odd decision. One can only hope that if the game gets off the ground, Ubisoft will invest in some dedicated servers. And honestly, it just kind of blows my mind they didn't do this in the first place, but I guess they have their reasons. Another issue I took is with the matching skill levels, but because as you play with a character, certain heroes that you level up, and it shows you each player's level. And there were many times that my level 3 Peacekeeper at the time may team up against similar level heroes that were matched up against like 14s. There was one that was like a 14, a 6, and a 9. It's like, okay, well, predictably, we got our asses handed to us by the people that were way above us. So while that was the most extreme case of unbalanced matchups that I saw, comparable lopsidedness occurred on several occasions. And so it's kind of odd balancing. While we're on the topic of balancing, I was really impressed with how diverse the heroes were, but for the most part, they match up pretty evenly. I do need to point out that the Nobushi and the Kensei, the two samurai heroes, there's 3 total, but specifically the 2 of them have these weapons that give them these really long, real massive reach. And I feel like Ubisoft Montreal will likely need to either nerf their weapon damage or figure out a way for the other classes to better exploit a weakness. Because as of right now, the Nobushi's fucking Naginata is an unstoppable whirlwind of death with a seemingly impenetrable defense. I might just suck, but it was weird. Like, I could take on pretty much any other class. I mean, I wouldn't win every time, but I got pretty good at one point. I was on a roll and I was kicking ass, and I could take on anyone. But anytime I run into a Nobushi, I was instantly dead. I couldn't get up into their face. They have some kind of ability to like back you off and then start stabbing you again. I feel like they need to be nerfed. But again, if anyone out there's watching this and you know that I'm wrong and I just suck, and give me some tips on how to kill those guys, because I had a really hard time. Okay, so at this point you might be a little discouraged if you were looking forward to playing this. But don't worry, stop the fretting. Despite its issues, For Honor still presents an experience really unlike anything else out there. It's gorgeous, and not just graphically. I mean, it is pretty, but the detail that's put onto the hero characters, it just makes running around the map a lot of fun. slicing through the opposing team's little minions like a hot knife through butter never gets old. And part of that is just the near perfect animations of these warriors just make you feel like an absolute badass. They move with such a weight and forward momentum. And they all feel just a little different. Obviously the big warden, the knight Claymore class is heavy. It's almost like driving a tank in Battlefield. And then, the Peacekeeper or the Urushi from the Samurai, much lighter. They can move, you can dodge. You can just feel the difference. And those variances really work well together. It just doesn't feel like any other hack and slash game that I've ever played before. The duels between two-player characters are super intense, trying to counter their attacks while looking for an opening. It really becomes a game of kind of like visual cat and mouse as you're kind of mirroring their stance and where they're positioning their blade and trying to just kind of feel them out. And a one-rung move often ends up with a quick, brutal death. It can get frustrating, demoralizing even. But a lot like Dark Souls, back to that comparison, victory earned in that kind of condition creates a rare breed of satisfaction and relief, carrying a lot more weight than downing, another soldier with long-distance rifles. Some have complained that it's nearly impossible to take on two other players by oneself, and that's absolutely the case. But personally, I felt that added a layer of strategy while navigating the map. It's kind of forced people to work together and not go lone wolf. And they're gonna, you could tell immediately people started, clearly buddy system. You split off into two. You always travel with somebody else. If you fight alone, you will die alone in For Honor. So yeah, that's really kind of how I feel about it. The game's coming out pretty soon. And obviously there's also a whole single-player campaign I don't really know anything about. I haven't seen it or played it at all. So, the dogs are barking. Sorry. And I'm really looking forward to that. I mean, the game is cool enough to begin with, so that's going to be pretty sick. My time with For Honor left me mostly positive vibes. I'm a sucker for new IP. I will admit that. I feel they're the lifeblood of the industry that we love so much, and it's worth supporting these games when the bigger publishers like Ubisoft take risks like For Honor. As long as they don't rip the game apart into DLC, prior to release, and I don't think they're going to do that. But as long as they don't rip the game apart like that into chunks, like 2K did with Evolve, I have hope that For Honor will become a bit of a cult classic that can carry a hardcore fan base and give birth to a brand new franchise that is successful down the line. There's a lot of speaking of DLC, if they do it right, there's a lot of cool directions they could go with. Obviously new maps, but along with new maps, new heroes, single player DLC if the single player is good. So there's all kinds of stuff that you could do that looks like it could be pretty cool. We're just gonna have to wait and see, how it all turns out. We'll see what they balance, what they fix, what they change. I don't know how much you can change in 2 weeks because this game comes out. It launches on February 14th on Xbox One, PS4, and PC. So we will see. But yeah, again, wrapping up for the most part, I am really positive. Don't let your first hour determine the way you feel about this game. This is not a game that you can decide whether or not you like it in an hour. I mean, I suppose if you really just didn't like anything about it, sure. But if if you're feeling like it's something that would interest you, if you're intrigued by how different it is, I would say come play it and make sure you put some time into it, because it's worth it. It's different, it's new, it's fresh, and it's a lot of fun, and it's a very well-made game. I mean, I can tell you that right now. I don't think this is going to be, it's not going to get fives, from the major outlets. I feel like this game's probably going to get eights, sevens and eights. It's one of those things, though, it's kind of like VR. It's just difficult to explain. You need to get your hands on a controller and try it out if you don't want to put the $60 down. The beta closed on Sunday, but borrow it from a friend or go to a friend's place and try it out. I'm really hoping that Ubisoft knows this and they would benefit greatly from a free trial weekend on like on Xbox or Steam or something like that. I think that would go a long ways. It's a game that people are going to want to try first, and I think if they could do that, they'll really jump on board. And I hope they do, because I think this is going to be awesome. You're going to need to stick with it. Practice makes perfect, and that's definitely the case here. So let me know what you guys thought if you played the beta. Are you looking forward to this? You're going to pick this up on day one? You're going to wait for a sale? What's your plan? What are your initial first impressions of For Honor? Mine, I would say, mostly positive. Some concerns about the background stuff, like the servers. Peer-to-peer servers really pisses me off, so we will see about that. But thank you guys so much. I appreciate you stopping by and listening to my thoughts. And I will leave off with some gameplay with my buddy Brett and I playing different various modes. Oh, I didn't cover modes. Whatever. You'll see them here in a moment. So thanks again for joining me. Enjoy some badass hack and slash death. And we will see you soon. Later.
Oh.
They have really long reach. Yeah, I'm gonna break my controller playing this game.
Oh, I barely killed him. I don't know where you are.
Nice, dude. I had her down to like nothing, and then you just came in and cleaned that little mess up.
Watch out for that long sword guy. He was figuring out how to change the directions.
Dude, yeah, I'm telling you, those Kensei dudes, man, they're hard to fight. I have a rough time with them, so this guy might beat me.
What the fuck? Hey, he killed me, heads up. He's coming for you.
Oh, cool. Is it open now? They're probably, oh. Okay. They probably didn't get as many people as they hoped, so they're just like, screw it.
Round 3.
Exactly.
The fuck? Okay, dude, seriously. No, 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 no.
Where are you? I'm coming, Brett.
I got him. Jeez, yo, dude. Don't kill me.
I don't understand why. I don't understand why there's friendly fire in this game. It's so stupid.
I just don't know how to do that those feats.
Yeah, agreed. I don't know how to do that shit either. I gotta figure it out. Yeah, dude, they totally underestimate the speed of the Peacekeeper. They... Dude, no!
Hi, how you doing?
He just threw him off the edge.
I'll tell you what though,
I
man.
feel like
I'm
such a cheater
learning
by
like
doing
they,
that, but I love it.
they